Hello everybody, my name is Rhonda Dula. Actually is Rhonda Jackson Dula. My nickname coming up was Crazy Legs Jackson. I'm the last of the Women's Military Forces Vietnam. The women during that era were recruited by, I guess, like how they recruit like your sports people. You know, they send scouts out, and they scouted me for the Women's Military Forces, not because of my academics. And I'm in medical school, and I'm thinking it's my academics. I found out later it's for my athletic abilities. That Crazy Legs Jackson stuck with me before, during, and after Vietnam. The Women's Vietnam Memorial was something that was established by the women who served in Vietnam. We got together and wanted to have a memorial for ourselves. The male entity did not want to recognize us as being combat in Vietnam. So what we did was we established our own memorial. It took us 10 years to raise the funding. It was out of pocket. And when we had the whole project completed, we went to Washington with all the documentation and says, we did our own memorial. Can you give us the real estate? So if you ever go to Washington, D.C., on Constitution Avenue between 11th and 12th Avenue is the Women's Vietnam Memorial. All the likeness and the faces of the women in that sculpture are actually women who served in Vietnam. I was fortunate enough to be one of the women chosen to have my likeness as one of the sculptures on the memorial. My likeness is the one that's looking up to heaven. You can see the anguish on the faces of the women that actually were nurses and doctors who actually went into the combat zone to retrieve the dying and the dead. So that was our contribution to women in combat during the Vietnam era. These were some strong nurses. They were strong women of faith. We found out later that all of us had served in the Girl Scouts. How about that? We didn't know that the recruiters, the scouts who were out there scouting for women to be, to come into the Women's Military Forces, they were actually looking for women, young girls who had been Girl Scouts. So they scouted the Scouts. Anyone who served in the Girl Scouts know that the motto is, on my honor, I would do my duty to do my best to serve God and country. That is the Girl Scout motto. We were given more than just traditional jobs. We were given non-traditional jobs, and I was able to see women plumbers, women mechanics. And the thing is that we had already did these jobs in the military, but we weren't recognized for taking these jobs. One of the things that we women did in the Women's Military Force is that we had 4 different specialties where we had to switch hats, and being transferred at temporary duties to do this and do that, and being able to do non-traditional roles and traditional roles, and not being recognized for that. But it was well documented, and that's the thing that saved us. All of this was documented. The Women's Military Forces, our living quarters, our barracks was our headquarters command. That's where our orders were done. We had our first sergeants and our commanders there in our barracks where our headquarters were. So when we got assignments, we knew right away where we were going, and how we were going, and how long we'd be going, because everything was done right there in our living quarters. So we were a tight-knit group. It was only a few of us. When those recruiters went out and recruited and scouted women, they scouted women that had the multiple abilities, the women that were able to last, and the women that had the background of whether they were athletes, Girl Scouts, or high academics. They went ahead and made sure that we were able to create a historical way to open up the doors of opportunity for other women to serve today. And those women are now serving in their communities after serving, their country. So I'm Rhonda Dula, and I hope that something that I had said today would be a feather in your cap to take and pass on something to a young girl that has no self-esteem, or to mentor, to take her forward, hold her hand and say, yes, don't lose your confidence. You've got to have that confidence and strength to go forward. There are going to be a lot of bumps in the road, and I don't want to think about the bumps in the road, because you know what? They weren't bumps, they were challenges. They built character. Once you build that character, then there's going to be another hurdle to go over, So each hurdle is going to be something that's going to build you a better person, a better person of responsibility, more maturity, and something that you can teach others along the way. So I just thank you for your time. Again, my name is Dr. Rhonda Dula. Some people refer to me as Dr. Rhonda Jackson Dula. Some people refer to me as Crazy Legs Jackson. They don't even want to hear that Dula. This is, as far as we know, you're still Jackson. So that's where a lot of my history has come from. I still have family in the D.C., Baltimore area. I did not grow up there. I grew up in parts around the world. My father was military, so not only did I serve in the military, I was a military brat as well, and a military wife. So we are a family. We're a military family. And that's how we should treat each other, as family. There should be no separatism between the men and the women, the children and the wives. We are all together in this. The women serve as wives. The women serve as daughters, as sisters. The women serve the family and the community just as much as the males serve in the military. So we want to make sure that we open the door of opportunity to have an equal balance. We need to heal our country. And the only way we can do that is bringing in unity and bringing in strength by combining our forces. There should be no separatism in any way. It should not have been a separate women's military forces and then together to consolidate the men and the women. It should have never been that way. But that's history, and that's the way it was. So I just want you to know that we're going forward, with better things for a brighter future for all of us. Our families need this. We're setting example for the youth. The youth, this is their future. We have to do a better job in helping our youth know and realize that there is a future ahead. Right now, it's not looking so good for them. We got to do better. If you don't know any better, you won't do any better. But now we know better, and we can do better. So as a collectiveness is good. And I have a saying that I usually say, if it's to be, it's up to me. So I want you to say, if it's to be, it's up to me. You have to be the change that you're looking for. That change that you seek, you have to be that change. So I thank you for your time, and I thank you for your consideration. And please, I pray that we all will get something out of this. Thank you.